What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
Rick, we are back. We took a week off, and I know people were emailing and saying, where's the podcast? Where's the podcast? Well, we're back. And before we get into our chapter 51, how mowing the lawn can teach you focus, we need to talk about why we were off last week.
Well, I first tried to hide it from everyone, including my mother. And a few days before it happened, I said, you know what, I should share it with her. And then realized the director of our theater said, Rick, you need to let all the brokers know why we're not selling tickets to your show for the next few weeks. And because she says the rumors around town can be vicious. And if you just clear the air, it'd be so much better.
That makes sense.
And so I began sharing my life with the world, and then realized that I might as well do so and go on the air as well. So on my 100.1, I also shared the information as well. And that is I had surgery, and that was for the removal of my prostate. So there you have it. There is the story. And it's fascinating that we are discussing how mowing the lawn can teach you focus, because the one thing that my doctor told me after doing so and having surgery, one is, look, Rick, you're going to be out for a while. And so for that reason, last week, we missed our opportunity to converse with each other.
Right.
And then he said, I don't know what it is about these guys. He says, but the moment that we go through the surgery, he says, they say, can I mow the lawn? He's like, what are you thinking? And now that I've had the surgery, I realize that there's just no way I can mow the lawn. I'm off from the show for about 4 weeks, and I'm off from mowing the lawn for at least 3 of those weeks, which makes it a little tough because there's a lot of important information about mowing your lawn and why I do so. And that's all about the chapter this week. So I will tell you that this week officially I did not mow the lawn, but I know from experience what I'm telling you is the truth.
And your doctor had no idea how you felt about mowing the lawn.
None.
When he said this to you?
No, in fact, when I went on the air I think it was last week, a week before, I had the entertainment director from the Grand Shanghai Theater on the air to chat about the Acrobats, the other group that's in our showroom, the Texas Tenors, and of course my show as well. And she said on the air, she goes, have you told these people on the air about the lawn, mowing the lawn? I go, are you kidding me? I said, and so the next segment when we came back, I had to explain to them what she was talking about mowing the lawn. So that's what we're going to do right now. And it will be a pleasure to share that story again.
You know, Rick, I knew that you were going to have surgery several months ago. Yeah. And we didn't want to talk about it because it's a topic that's really difficult to talk about.
More so for men. Men are very private. Women, they all get together and they talk about everything that's wrong with themselves.
Not always.
Not always. I just find that they're much more open about their body, and men are men try to pretend that it doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, men are supermen. They never need to go to the doctor. Nothing ever goes wrong.
I have known for a couple of years, and they were just watching it. And then 6 months ago, doctor said, nope, it's actually now moving forward. It's growing. And yes, it was cancerous. And so for me, now I explained it in depth and I learned a lot about it. But it is slow growing. It usually has a 15-year growth pattern. The problem is once it goes past the prostate, it usually goes first to the bone. So if you get bone cancer, gentlemen, that's not a good thing. Okay.
No.
You're going to have a hard time fighting it. And so for that reason, that's why they consider if you've got it, get it removed, and we go from there. I did get it removed, and the only way we did it, of course, is through a PSA test.
There you go.
It's simple. You just go into the doctor. You do have a blood test, and it tells you. The blood tells you if you've got it or not.
Simple.
And anybody over the age of 60, they suggest you do so.
Yep.
So I was 62, and sure enough, I've had it removed.
Just like that.
And for me, going back to the doctor this last week, I am cleared on all different points. I guess there's 3 different points they look at, and at the moment it's cleared. Doctor said you have 1% chance of it returning. I think they have to do that, right?
Yeah.
To protect themselves.
Yeah, but
in case
also
it does come back.
Also to make sure that you go in for your 6-month checkup, because if they said you're 100% clear, no chance at all, you move and go to the Bahamas, but they want you to come back every 6 months because you have to do that.
All right.
I think it's just a little scare factor, the teeniest of scare factors to get you in there. But I am so relieved. I think I held my breath for the entire day of your surgery until you texted me a day later and said you were okay. And then I held my breath until we finally got together and you gave me the results, which was just a short time ago. So I'm still catching my breath. You know, I live with somebody who is in the age range as well. And I will say, Randy has not gotten a test in about 5 years.
Yeah.
And he knew about your surgery, of course. I told him what was going on, and he was, praying for you on that day as well. We were both very concerned because, you're like family to us. And I'm going to tell him again today when I give him the results. I'm going to say, okay, damn it, you have 7 days to get that test, because we're not going to mess around here with something that takes so little time to discover if you are or you're not. I had a story on the air the other night that they talked about the 2 biggest medical fears people have. And the number 2 medical fear was that word. And I don't say the word because I've been through it too. I don't say the word. The word is not said in my household. So the word begins with C, and we all know what we're talking about.
Right.
The second one, or actually the first one, the second one is that word, getting that word. But the first one is finding out they have the word when it's too late to do anything.
Yeah, when it's too late. Right.
Yeah.
Because most of us, especially with the prostate, if you start feeling bad, it is too late. It's gone too far. It has to be caught before rather than later. So it's not, the only pain you're going to have on the front side of this thing is a pinprick and then just staying close to the doctor. Most of the time, they're just going to keep an eye on it and make sure it's not growing. They do say that any man who does pass on, that their prostate has some form of cancer in it when they die, but it's not what they died from. It's just that it starts falling apart, right? It is what it is.
Wow.
And that being the case, they just got to make sure that it's not the reason, because it does spread to other parts of the body, and it's the cause that spreads. So that's why for a man, that's a great way of taking care of it and stopping it, at least from that point.
And so if you're a guy, for crying out loud, go and get that test. It's going to take 5 minutes, and then you can be reassured, or you can go after this thing and deal with it and get the all clear, hopefully, like you just did, Rick. And now you don't have to worry. Now you can, you take your month, you rest, you recover, and you come back and pick up without being concerned, for a while. And ladies, the same thing with the mammograms. You got to do them. Oh, they're horrible, and I know it. That is not a 5-minute pinprick test. No,
I can't imagine.
Oh,
I know.
It's the worst, but if you catch it early enough, it's manageable and you're going to be okay. But if you catch it too late, well, then it's too late.
So good.
Yeah, and it's terrible. So we've got a chance. They haven't found a cure.
I've always said that it's a difficult word to actually translate because it just means the mutation of cells.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's so many, there's not just one kind.
Oh, no.
There's many there's like 100 different kinds of I don't mind saying 100 different kinds of cancer. So when you say we're going to eliminate cancer, you're like,
you can't.
It's what our body starts falling apart. It's what we're dying of. So what you're trying to do is just slow down whatever area of your body has it. Try and do your best to eliminate it. For those that have been post-operative on this and are on the other side as I am, I commend you. I know that in some instances and many, the outcome isn't always as positive as it was with me, but I can say that you just got to do something and protect your life and realize also, we were talking about, I guess, how important our lives are to other people. I try to be very private about it, but I also realize there are a lot of people out there who care enough, who want to know, who want to pray, who want to make sure that I care, that they care. And sometimes I'm very selfish. And in this case, I was, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. I'm like, okay, well now I'm going to share, and now I'm going to get on the radio, and now I'm going to just share with the whole world. This is what this is. This is what you got to do. This is what you need to expect. And I think it was great. In fact, Tammy and I have been actually chatting about conversations and our podcast going beyond the book.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you this week and what happened to me and the stories that I shared with Tammy that aren't in the book. An experience I had with my son when I took him out to lunch for his birthday. And the waitress said, "Oh, you brought your grandson with you." Just that alone, when she thought he was my grandson rather than my son, is a podcast in itself.
Oh, it totally is. And Preston's birthday, this was number 7, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and they automatically thought he was your grandson. And I told you before we went on there, I've got so many friends who are in our age group, and they have started, maybe they remarried and started a new family, and they have little guys like Preston, and they're the same age, and it's their daddy. That's their son. And it's like, come on. And they deal with the same thing you did. I've even been there a couple times when it's happened at a table. I'm like, oh, God.
So I don't want to ruin what possibly will be great. I'm going to start taking notes. Great chapters after the Tiger Whisker. But, but I believe that there's a lot to share with the world. And I just find it fascinating. I do have my on-air time on the radio, and our podcast could be a discussion on what was discussed on the radio the week before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't record that, so to speak. And the podcast, there's a lot of good information that should be recorded. And put down, to live on beyond just hitting the airwaves once. I so many times want to go back on the air the next week and say something again about what I said before. And I try to not repeat myself, but the podcast may be the way for us to have some proper discussion on some pretty important things going on out there.
Well, a number of people have pointed out to me in recent weeks, you're getting toward the end of the book.
Yeah.
We're on chapter 51. There are 55 chapters and a finale.
Yay!
Okay. So I actually looked at this last night, and that means we're going to wrap up the book mid-October. And people said, so, well, what happens now? I said, and all I've said is, well, you go back and start at chapter 1 again and listen from the beginning, I guess. But no, we are talking about something, and I hope we can figure out exactly what to do and do it, because it would be fun. And there is a lot to talk about. And I don't think a lot of these topics get talked about very often. And they're just the normal things that happen in our lives, but we need to talk them through sometimes. We need to find some clarity in them. We need to laugh about them sometimes.
Right. Well, I thought it was actually quite charming. Well, I don't know about charming, but when she said I was my son's grandfather.
You didn't dislike it?
No, I didn't. I said on the air, I said, okay, so now that I'm his grandfather, I get to spoil my son. I get to give him anything that I want as far as treats go, and do whatever I need to do to make him as happy as possible as a little guy. And then I give him back to me to then raise him as my son.
Okay. So you're doing double duty now.
I did double duty. I get to spoil him.
That works.
And then I get to raise him.
That works. Okay. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to Preston. Now that you're a granddad.
Yep. Let us continue.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am beyond relieved, because I think everybody who cares about you, we were all kind of going through this and just waiting for you to give us the sign that everything is A-okay. And again, I just can't implore everybody enough to do your checkups. And, sometimes we don't do our checkups because we don't want
We don't want to know.
We don't want that result.
We just want to keep our blinders on. It's easier to live life not knowing rather than have it in your face. And that said, my doctor said, now that you've had the surgery, guys, for some reason, want to go out and mow the lawn.
You got home to the hospital and said, where's the mower?
Where's the mower? But there are some really extremely important lessons that my father taught me about mowing the lawn. And that's really what I want to share today and focus. There's a lot to share about it and how that actually balances out with the life that we all live and how we need. It's not about mowing the lawn. I know there's a lot of people out there that are not going to ever mow their lawn, but it's what he taught me about mowing the lawn and what I understand today and how I live my life. You've got to listen to this because it's really going to put you in the right direction.
Well, you cannot mow your lawn right now. You're not going to be able to mow your lawn for about how long? What did he tell you about?
Probably in 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay. So about a month. I know you're not going to let it grow knee high because you'll sit there staring out the window at it and lose your entire mind. So you have somebody who's going to come and do it.
Yes, a fine gentleman who actually seeds my lawn.
Okay.
Twice a year will come in and actually, I took that responsibility away from him, that mowing the lawns. I said, you can still seed them. Feel free to do so, but I'll mow the lawn.
And he looked at you like, what?
He'll take care of me for a while. You should seed your lawn twice a year.
Oh, yes.
Just in our area of the country. So we do it in March and in September.
Here too in California, because otherwise we don't have much of a lawn. So we do that too. Yeah. And I have a wonderful guy named Martin who comes over every Tuesday with his crew and does a terrific job on the lawn and all the plants and all the bushes and all of that, because I don't mow my lawn. But will you be supervising this mowing of the lawn?
I will be supervising. Okay. Yeah, I'll be letting him in the gate and I'll be watching him from that point forward.
It'll be the weekly mowing of the lawn.
I also recently taught my son Brandon how to mow the lawn. I even taught Tara how to mow the lawn because I wanted her to experience the lessons that were taught to me. She only mowed like 2 lines of the lawn. She goes, "Okay, I get it. Here you go. I'm not going to mow any more lawn." But with that said, and also it being brought up on the air this past week, it's just fascinating that it all came out. How my surgery has everything to do with mowing the lawn.
Well, I am blown away. Well, synergy always blows me away. I mean, here we are talking about this chapter at this time. We talked about the Korea chapter just before the surgery, about your surgery in Korea. There's a weird synergy that seems to follow you and I all the time. But I'm just blown away that your doctor said that exact thing to you after your surgery, because not knowing that this mowing the lawn thing is a big deal with you. It's like, of all the things he could have said to you, that's what he comes up with. So
my father complained to me while I was in Las Vegas that I was not mowing my lawn, that I had somebody else doing so. And he said, "It's your lawn, it's your responsibility." He was really hands-on. He always said, if there's something you can do yourself, you don't have others do it for you. And even though I could afford to do so and I could support another family in doing so, that just in his head, he just couldn't let it go. He says, "It's your lawn. Take the responsibility, get out there and mow your lawn." And once my father passed on, I actually began mowing my lawn. It was just a bizarre moment in my life. And I was thinking about his passing and things that things that I can never forget that he'd tell me in my life, right? And one was, "You should be mowing your own lawn." And I got the mower out and I started mowing the lawn, and it gave me the opportunity every time I do so to think of my dad. So for the number one reason, it is the opportunity to think about my father. Secondary, I'm really good at mowing lawns. And so this is the discussion we want to have, not about my dad or his remembrance, but it was he teaching me how to mow the lawn. And my lawn looks stunning. The lines are straight.
My goodness.
And I'm going to tell you, actually, the best way to mow a lawn is alternating directions every single time. So you mow it straight, then you mow it at a 45, and then you mow it at the opposite 45.
We need to videotape you doing this. We need a videotape. We do. No, we do. We need a how-to, because I'm trying to map that in my head as you said it. I'm not good at this. So we need a video.
You'll see it at some of the great, like the amusement parks or places in front of banks or big, beautiful buildings where they really know what they're doing with their lawns. I don't know what it is. They can pay somebody a lot of money to do so. In fact, many of those lawns are mowed left and right all at the same time. So
Oh my
I
goodness.
just mow once. I mow once straight. That's just straight up and down and then the next week you mow at a 45-degree angle, the whole lawn, so that it's at an angle from the way it was mowed the time before.
Oh, I get it
and then
now.
the third week you mow the other 45-degree angle the other direction. So they crisscross. So
I get it.
some companies, some people that mow the lawn, they'll mow it the same day in two 45-degree directions, giving you perfect lines and squares across your lawn. You've seen it, right? Tell me you've seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have. Indeed.
All right.
Indeed. It is cool looking.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is cool.
So it's also a great way. And the reason why it's not just for straight lines and for the beautification, it's the way that the blades cut the grass as well. The grass and the way the blade of the grass is cut. It's good to shift it up a bit so the grass it's not being cut the same direction every time.
Well, that makes good sense.
I don't know.
That
I don't know
good
much
sense.
about it, but I know my lawn's beautiful.
A couple of times I have had on one of the public affairs show I do for a station here in Southern California, I've had the head groundskeeper for the Angels baseball team on the show.
Yeah, you see it in the baseball fields. Yeah. That's the best place to see how they cut grass. Yeah.
This is and no kidding aside, this is a science. It is a career. They have conventions. The next time you go to the ballpark or any kind of sporting field where they have grass, they have got an expert and a team there. And their whole thing is about the grass. And he taught me some of just the amazing things. This is really a career.
Yeah.
So if you sit there and marvel at how beautiful the fields look at your favorite sporting event, that could be a career for you. There are degrees you can get that cover that. And you know what? We're talking about quite a well-paying job doing this.
Yes, actually, I can tell you that. People that I've known who've cut my grass, the guys out in Vegas, they actually did pretty good for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm actually thrilled to finally get to the point of this podcast today. Here it is. And we've talked about everything but the one thing that's important to everybody, and that is how I got the lines of the grass to be so straight.
Okay.
And it's focus. My friends, it is focus. What do you focus on when you're mowing your lawn?
Okay.
I can tell you that the success of mowing a straight line across your lawn is to always look off into the distance and focus on a tree, a flower, a crack on the ground, a weed at the corner of the grass, whatever it is that you're going to go from one end to the other. You focus on that one point. You don't turn to the left. You don't look to the right. You don't look down at the mower. You look straight ahead and you walk straight ahead and stare at that one point in the distance. And when you get to the end of the lawn, you can turn around and I can flat out guarantee you're going to have a straight line straight down the lawn.
Wow. I thought it was just skill in making straight lines. But
No, it's just focus. It's really, you simply, every time you get to the next turn, you turn around, then you overlap the line that you just cut.
Okay.
And then you look at a distant spot in line with where you need to go, and then just look and go.
You have made this a science.
Oh, yeah. Pick a point, stare at it, and then walk. And then when you reach your destination, this is about focus. And I'm telling you about people's lives and how does that fit in? So once you've reached a destination, that's one end of the lawn or maybe a goal that you've reached.
Right.
You can then turn around and look back at your accomplishments. And in this case, it's a straight line. The frustration I find is people, they get detached, they get disturbed, or all of a sudden they have other things that come up in their life that get in the way, and they do look left, they do look right, they branch in the wrong direction, and then when you go back and look at the line, it's crooked, it's all over the place. It's because you did not focus on your goal, you did not focus and stay direct on what you needed to accomplish. Keep your eyes on that distant point.
When you finish, Rick, I'm sure this isn't a 5-minute job, but when you finish, do you just stand back and look at all your lines and marvel?
No, I get in my truck and I drive down the street and I turn around and I drive back down the street past my home.
No, it's worse.
And I go, wow, that is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not joking you. No, I don't just stand back. I got to see the entire view as I'm moving, as I know all the other cars are driving down the street. Now, I live in a wonderful area where all the homes, and most of them, are required to upkeep their lawns.
Okay.
So when you know your lawn sits well against all the others,
Oh my
it
God.
feels good. It feels good. So yeah, I get in the truck.
Do your neighbors comment on your lawn? Have you had comments?
Oh, absolutely. Josh Grisham, the voice of God on my 100.1, his whole thing about his life, it's his lawn. And when I was talking about it on the air, he goes, "You're kidding me." And I go, "What?" And so he pulls out his phone, and I think he's going to share with me, I don't know, a child's picture or a love of a life or whatever.
Yeah, picture of the dog.
No,
yeah.
He shows me a picture of his lawn.
No way.
Yes way. And I said, "What?" He goes, "My lawn's the most important thing in my life." I said, "Look at that." He goes, "We're two peas in the pod. Look, that's amazing."
Oh.
It was so funny. So when I got back home, I took a picture of my lawn and sent it back to him.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And so, there's a point. I don't know. It's just, it's a visual accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend a few hours out there and you can see it. And I know goals sometimes take a long time to get through them. And we do deviate. We do often have to set the goal aside for a bit to do something with our life because it gets in the way.
Right.
Understood.
Right. Of course.
But you need to be focused. My biggest problem is starting a task. Because when I start something, I can't stop until I finish.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Okay, so I procrastinate. My problem is procrastination. But once I'm on the job, I have an outside fence, I have to right now stain the fence for the year.
Whoa,
I can't do it right now because
exactly.
That's right. I have an excuse.
You said right now, and I'm like, not right now. No.
I need to get out there, and I've hesitated because I know that the moment I do, it's going to be 2 days of work, but I won't stop because it is me. And that's probably why I wrote the book as well. I started writing the book about 15 years ago.
Oh gosh.
And
know that.
I finally completed it. There's a great man in my life. His name is Joe Brickey. He stepped into my life and he demanded I finish my book.
Oh,
I'm kind of glad that I didn't finish it when I was trying to do so because I am so much more the wiser. This book is about my life, not just a couple years of my life.
Right.
And there are so many, I think, wonderful things in the book that would have never been expressed. But he kind of came into my life at the right time and said, "You're going to get this done. I'm going to get you through it. I'm not going to let you stop."
Oh my goodness.
And I needed that because I was procrastinating.
Oh, yeah.
I said, no, I'll get to it. But taking that 15 years to write the book was the right thing to do. And I give a shout out to Joe Brickey as well.
Well, it's good to have somebody who will push you. I need that. When I have somebody pushing me on a project, it makes that procrastination go. Because I'm the same way. I'll procrastinate. I'll come up with a million reasons why I can't do it right now, why I shouldn't do it right now. But what I have found oftentimes is the procrastination is worse than the task. If you just get to the task gets done. It turns out great. You're happy. You stand back. You drive down the street. You drive past your house, whatever.
Right.
And you're like, wow,
because it's on your mind.
Yeah.
And it burdens you.
Yes. It really does. It really does. So I need to borrow him perhaps.
He is available for a price.
Well, hey, I have a bulletin board out in the office of the studio and I have projects listed there. And I now purposely don't look at it when I walk by it because it taunts you.
Yeah.
It does. So I need him, I think. My non-procrastination coach, I'll call him.
It's good. It's good to know. Yeah, I'm going to throw out another kind of way of thinking about mowing the lawn straight, or at least following your dreams and really getting out there and doing it. Procrastination's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Now is the best time to do it. Deal with it and get it done. As you said, it just haunts you.
Oh, it does.
But I also got Tara out there to learn how to mow the lawn as well. She grew up in Zimbabwe, Africa, and born and raised there. And she came and tried out for my show in Las Vegas. And we brought her into the show. And 3 years after that, I married her. I don't, nor had I ever dated any of my dancers in the show. Just want to point that out.
Well, it makes good sense not to.
But when I did and spent that time properly in doing so, she comes from a background of ballet. She was taught also by some of the greatest ballet studios in England, in London. And she is just a stunning ballet artist. And you sometimes wonder when when they spin on point in ballet? How do they stay upright? How do they stay balanced? They do what's called spotting. And spotting is where you choose a point in the room and you look at it and you spin your head around as quickly as you can as you're spinning to that point again to keep you on what they call spot.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't get dizzy that way.
So if you watch somebody in dance, you'll see their head spin quickly as they're spinning, and that is because they have spotted something in the room at a distance, whatever it may be, and they are making their mark visually, and that way they can be on point and stay on their toes and not fall over and
Not get dizzy.
and fall apart.
Yeah, right.
I also, in my show, I fly in the air, and Tara floats up in the air. And then at one point, I look up at her and I fly. And I know that this is going to be extremely difficult to comprehend how I can simply and easily talk about flying in the air, because I do. I really fly, and people are like, yeah, but I still don't get how he flies in the
No,
air.
I don't either. So you're not alone. I can't figure it out either. So.
All right. And I'm not going to tell you my secret. I'm not going to go into depth, but I will tell you that how I am able to fly up to her, the people are going to scratch their heads, is I spot a light above me near where Tara is, and I fly to that light. That's bizarre. You're thinking about like, okay, first of all, I'm telling you, I know. How does he fly in the first place? Yeah. But I keep myself well balanced and I keep myself in direction, because as I fly up to her, I spot myself with something above me, and I look up and I look straight and I fly straight up into the air. So whatever it is in your life, I've done that, and I've utilized that concept by looking ahead, focusing on something and going towards that end result. And I can just beg all of you listening, grab a hold of your dreams. Think about what you got to do to get to that end of that dream, and don't deviate. And try not to sit down and watch too much television. Television will ruin you. I've watched every movie there is to watch on all the streaming shows now already after my surgery.
Well, you are not used to sitting still and not running in and out of the house all day and running to the theater all day. You're kind of have been told to kind of keep it low key, and that must be driving you out of your mind, because that is so not Rick Thomas.
It is not me, but at the same time, I've now used it as a good excuse.
Yeah, you need to.
And let me explain it, what I feel. I have been frustrated, and I still am. I always feel like I should be doing something else. I feel like I should be. I just fidget. I cannot sit still. I need to be doing something, or I feel like I'm wasting my life.
I get that.
But when the doctor said, okay, you're not to mow the lawn. Right. I said to myself, wow, okay, I don't have to mow my lawn.
Okay,
so
good.
In my head, I'm like, wow, somebody has told me I can't do this, so accept it and enjoy the ride. Exactly. So when at night I can't sit anymore, I can't do something at my desk, or I can't sit at the computer, and I have to just chill, I find myself actually enjoying that moment, because my body has forced me. It has told me, Rick, you can do no more. So chill. Yeah. Stop trying to be Superman.
Yeah. You've got permission now to stop.
That's right. And for that moment in my life, I have found great joy because I can't do anything else.
And that is good for you.
That's good for me.
I took a class, and it was a weird class back when we were turning the century and going into the year 2000. There was a class about time at one of the local colleges, and I just needed a couple extra credits for some degree. So I took it. Professor was amazing. And the one thing I remember is he said, if you're enjoying what you're doing, whatever it is or isn't, you're not wasting time. If you think about it, because you and I have this crazy notion that we've got to accomplish something or time has been wasted. That we have to have a result of the last hour. Okay, a thing, a tangible thing. Okay. But he's saying that even if you did nothing in that hour, if you stared at the wall for an hour, if you enjoyed that hour, if that hour was a cool, relaxing, staring at the wall, then the time wasn't wasted. Even though you don't have a tangible thing to say, this is what I accomplished in that hour. If you enjoyed it, it was not time wasted. I've never forgotten that saying. And I like it.
That's what it, in the end, that's probably what it is. You know, we're going to all fight to accomplish our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
We're all moving forward to try to do things which we think is going to bring us our greatest happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I find more often than not, once our dreams are fulfilled, that's not our happiness. It's that journey. It's the life that you experience in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that finding the happiness that you're talking about is key.
Yes.
Just being happy doing it
Mm-hmm.
is what it's all about. And this is mind blowing, most of us will not be ever written about in history books.
Oh, absolutely
For
not.
the billions of people, and you're part of it, and I am as well, who have come and gone on this amazing world of ours, only a few of us ever make it into the history books.
Yeah.
Or of great importance. And I'm not saying that we're not important. Everybody is important.
Oh, yeah,
everyone has a life and everyone has a story to tell. But you got to also realize that in the end, when you look back on all of it, it really comes down to the point of how much joy have I brought to my life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
It's all about, if you think your dreams are all about how you want to prove how cool you are to other people or this or that, it's fleeting.
Oh, very.
I'm telling you, it's fleeting.
It is.
Your 15 minutes of fame is going to be here and it's going to be gone. And I just know that when you realize that when history is written, you know, we're not going to be the Napoleon Bonapartes. We're not going to be some president of the United States. Some of us will.
Yeah.
But for the most of us, when you look back on your life, what you hope you realize is, I did it for me and I am happy and I'm so appreciative of my accomplishments and be with it. I mean, you know, that's what it is.
It is. Exactly. Exactly. But we get caught up in the insanity of the day.
Just the other day, I was watching a video of, this is hard to talk about because we are such a materialistic society.
Yeah.
And I understand, oh man. In Las Vegas, more so than I do now here in Branson. In Las Vegas, I can admit to you, I had a stunning home.
Oh, yes.
I drove a BMW 750 Li. I had what I could imagine anybody would want in an industry that I'm in. And I'm saying that just because the other day I was watching a video of a gentleman wanting a particular car that he could not afford.
Oh.
And even the guy trying to sell him the car said, why don't we get you into a car that you can afford?
Oh, my.
Right? And the guy said, that's not the kind of car I drive. I said, this is the kind of car I drive. I don't drive that kind of car. This is what I drive. This is what I'm in. This is what I need to be seen in.
Oh, my.
And I think to myself, oh, my goodness gracious, how we all live to try and impress others. And in the long run, looking back on it, it doesn't mean squat.
No, it doesn't. You're not your car.
And
You're
I
not
know
your
that
house.
we have the mansions and we have the cars and we have the yachts. And yes, they're out there. And yes, if you can afford it, great. I know that as far as yachts go, or even boats, the happiest day of a guy's life when he buys a boat and when he sells the boat.
Yeah, right.
Every day in between, not so good.
Forget about it. What did
And I
do?
am not trying for you to not go for the gut. So I'm not trying to, go for everything that you so desire in life. But just realize in the end, even with all the people that you think you're impressing or trying to impress, it's going to come down to one thing, and that's what brings you your greatest joy.
Exactly. Do it for yourself. Don't do it to impress other people. If that's the kind of car you want because you really dig that car, then that's, in my opinion, that's your car. But if you're doing it to go look at my car,
Yeah.
no.
That's not the car I drive. That's not what I came. I got people saying, you don't want to drive in a piece of junk, but at the same time, it was just like I was applauding the car dealer.
Yeah.
I think the dealer just knew he just didn't want to repossess the car.
Yeah,
once the guy
right,
took it
down
off
the road.
lot. Right. You can't afford this car. Just to kind of reel everybody in a bit. Enjoy the ride.
Yep.
get what you want out of life. And I'm not trying to squash anybody's dreams. But do make sure that you're happy in the process.
Exactly. There was a news anchor here in Los Angeles, a very good friend of mine. He's passed now, but he was very well known news anchor. Prior to that, very well known DJ. And he had money. He was making a good salary. And I remember the car he drove. He drove this weird, bright turquoise little, I don't even know what it was. It was small. And the only way I can describe, little piece of from the 80s.
Uh-huh. A gremlin, probably.
I think it was even worse.
A Pacer.
I think maybe it was.
Do you remember those cars?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I remember the first time I walked out to the parking lot with him to leave, and he walks over to that car, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "What?" And I said, "Is that your car?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh." He said, "Disappointed?" I said, "No." I said, "Shocked, surprised?" And he said, "You know what, Tam?" He said, "Everybody is." He said, "I love this car."
Yeah.
I love this car. Nobody would expect me to drive this car. I mean, he could have gone and afforded your best BMW or Mercedes or Jag. And it suited who we all thought he was. But in his heart, that car was his baby, and that car was who he was. And you know what? He had that car till the day he passed. Yeah. He never bought another car. He bought a beautiful house up in the Hollywood Hills. I went up there one day and I'm like, "Wow, you just bought this?" He goes, "Yeah, what do you think?" And guess what's
completely different. Okay, the house is good.
Right. And guess what's in the driveway? Yep.
His car, yeah.
Yep. And the more I got to know him, the more I realized, you know what? It makes sense. Every day he went out to that car, and even though everybody in the parking lot went, "What a piece of crap," he got in that car and said, "I love this car.
I love this car."
And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. And that's what matters, because he loved that car. He wouldn't have loved a big, beautiful, gorgeous, got all the gadgets in the world Mercedes. He wouldn't have had that joy when he got in that car, but he got in that little rattletrap blue car, and he was a happy dude going down the freeway.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, isn't it? That's what you got to do.
I've actually had a blast today. Thank you for being by my side.
Oh.
So the last sentence I would like to say, or a bit of verbiage that will be important in your life, is success, whatever it is, and whatever so you desire it to be, can be achieved through direct focus. Just give it all you got, and see where it takes you.
Keep your eye on the prize, as they say. You can do it.
Well done.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.